video, we're going to talk about what is the MPT. So before we dive into the specifics about what the MPT is, it's good to kind of back up a step, so to speak. So the MPT is a component of the UBE, or the Uniform Bar Exam, which is a newer exam that's gained popularity in recent years, and many jurisdictions have adopted it. So three parts or three components make up the UBE. The MBE, which is short for the Multi-State Bar Exam. This is the multiple choice portion of the bar exam. The MEE, that's short for the Multi-State Essay Examination. So again, this is where you're answering essay questions under timed constraints. And then the third component is the MPT. The MPT is short for the Multi-State Performance Test. So now that you understand the MPT is a component of the UBE, a lot of students say, so what is it? Well, the MPT is a real life or a real world lawyering task. To get more specific, the National Conference of Bar Examiners, or the NCBE, these are the people who draft and administer the Uniform Bar Examination, they have put together two 90-minute real-world legal tasks. And both of these tasks together make up 20% of your total Uniform Bar Examination score. In other words, the MPT is worth 20% of your score in a uniform state. The MPT tests real-life legal tasks that attorneys often face in real practice, maybe memos, briefs, drafting complaints, and the like. Unlike other portions of the UBE, however, you don't have to bring any outside legal knowledge into your performance of the MPT to do well. Instead, the MPT, as a component of your Uniform Bar Exam, is meant to test the examinee's ability to use their fundamental lawyering skills in a simulated work environment. In fact, the bar examiners provide you with facts and law for you to use. So they don't want you to use any outside legal knowledge. Instead, they just want you to use the information in which they've provided to you to complete the task at hand. So let's dive a little bit deeper. What does the MPT consist of? Well, what you'll get is, again, two tasks, and you'll have about 90 minutes for each task if you're doing these on time. And what you'll receive is basically an assignment from your fake boss, so to speak. It's usually the lawyer that's in charge of you. So what they do is they give you your assignment in the form of a letter or in the form of an email or some other form of written communication. And some examples of MPT assignments that you'll more likely than not see are things like objective memos or persuasive memos, persuasive briefs, and sometimes they give what we call like wildcard tasks or odd tasks, things like demand letters, opinion letters, or contract drafting provisions, complaints, things like that. So you'll receive an assignment from your fake boss, and that's what we call the task memo. The task memo is found in what we call the file portion of your test materials. So for each MPT, you're going to receive a file in a library. The task memo is the first document in your file. And that task memo, again, is very, very important because it outlines what your job is for that MPT. It's also really important because it gives you very specific instructions, usually on formatting. It also usually tells you about what you should and shouldn't talk about. It also tells you about who your audience is. For instance, are you writing a demand letter or are you writing an opinion letter? The tone for those types of tasks are very different. So this task memo is incredibly important. It's arguably the most important document in your whole file. It's usually that first page, and it's the document you want to come back to as many times as necessary. Behind that task memo, in your file, you're also going to have a handful of factual documents. They can include things like fake deposition transcripts, interviews, pleading, discovery documents, contracts. And keep in mind, just like if you were dealing with a real-world case, not every single document will be relevant and or necessary to answer the question posed. So it's your job to decide how relevant that information is and how you're going to use that information. The second part of each MPT is what we call the library. And the library contains all of the law in which you're supposed to use. This could be in the form of case law, could be provided in statutes or rules or regulations, or in any other form that they choose to provide it. And just like the factual documents, some of the law can be really relevant and you're going to use it a lot, and other pieces of the law might not be as relevant for whatever reason. You should read everything contained in the library and again, make the decision of how you're going to use that information. And then remember, as I led with, this is the only part of the bar exam you're not required to know any outside legal information. And sometimes they will change the law in the library to be different than what it is in real life. So do not use your outside legal knowledge here. Instead, just focus on the law that's provided to you. So we hope that this helps you out and gives you a little bit more insight into what is the MPT.